Hi there, I'm Linden Thorp. Welcome to Your Body is Your Business Plan, the Masterclass. And this is a series of 13 events. We're now on event 7. And in this series, I invite people to come and co-host with me. And they can learn to be embodied. I can help if they're nervous about being live. And many people are. It's quite surprising to me. But yes, it's a great opportunity if you'd like to come and join us in the studio. Most of the events are now taken. I think we've only got 3 left, but we've put the details in the box below this live window, so you can apply if you'd like to. And of course, we're covering embodiment. Embodiment is the whole point of this. And Your Body is Your Business Plan is the name of a book that I wrote last year and published in the summer. And it's just been re-released again. So I'm going to be talking about that tonight. In fact, yesterday was the relaunch. So I'm quite excited to get lots more people interested in it. So as usual, if you're a regular here, you'll know that I always start with a voiceless video. Well, actually, it's usually a slideshow, but today I'm going to use videos. And the purpose of this is to make sure that people with ADHD or hearing impairments or any kind of problem with media can have a moment to reflect on the topic. So this video will give you a really good idea about what we're going to talk about. And then I'll bring my lovely guests. We've got 2 lovely guests today onto the platform, and we'll have a really nice chat. So without more ado, let me first of all give you this video. So just sit back and soak it all up. Here we go. Okay, so yes, we are talking about Your Body is Your Business Plan. This is, I think, a very evocative, provocative title, perhaps, because what I'm doing is bringing embodiment right into the business arena. because it's where I feel it's needed most. We're surrounded by people burning out. I'm dealing with quite a few, and I really am on a mission to stop it. So that's the topic today. And I think now is the time to bring my lovely guests onto the studio. Ebi Sheila, you know very well. She's a self-love coach. And today we've got a very good friend of mine, Margaret Barry, who is very much a sort of very strong coach. And she works with a lot of clients still, very experienced and very highly qualified. So I'm delighted she could make it. So let me, without more ado, bring them both onto the platform. Here we are. Hi. So I don't think, Ebi, I don't think you know Margaret, but you know Heather. And Heather was here a couple of weeks ago, and this is her mother. So we're keeping it in the family. So it's wonderful to have you all, both. And we could be joined by other people too. I've invited 2 more people, but I don't know if they can come. So basically then, today I want to talk about the book. And this book really is a business book. It's a gateway book, really. And in fact, Ebi Sheila has been following it for quite a while. She was one of my first customers, and we've discussed it a little bit. And it seems it's very enlightening. So I think Ebi will probably tell us about that. But before we go into that, there it is. There it is indeed. So tell me, first of all, what you thought about the video. Margaret, what did you get from that video I played to you?
I didn't actually see the video, unfortunately. But, you know, the principle behind what you're talking about is so important in terms of, I think many people feel they have no control over things like burnout, that it's something that happens to us. And, you know, it's again part of mindfulness is, as you know, Linden, I always talk about an instrument. We are instruments in the world. Like musical instruments, we need to be well maintained, yes, beautifully tuned, so that we make great music with every other instrument we come into contact with.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. It's a great testament. But Ebi Sheila, you watched the video. What did you get from it? Because you always get so much from these videos.
Too much. Did go fast. I really love what Margaret said about the musical instrument. That immediately just clicked with me in terms of what the whole thing is about. So I think Margaret's actually summarized it very well. I'm not very fast at writing. So you talked about the 4 compasses. So about the vagus nerve and how it affects us, you know. So when a stressful situation, how it goes through our bodies, and so how we feel, so it can result in misalignment of the body. So I got the pictures. I guess I was so looking at the pictures. I love the pictures. I wasn't writing fast enough. And you talked about it running the master strategy. Burnout isn't just overload, which is something I also talk about. I think that because that's something a lot of people need these days, because a lot of people are running into burnout. There's just so much happening so quickly. I can't even believe we're in March already, and we're almost going to the middle of March. It's like it was Christmas just yesterday. So yes, there's so much stress, especially when you're in a big city, and things are just going so quickly. So this is a very important message, and the book is great and it's wonderful. So I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
Good. That's a great start. Thank you very much. And so what I'll do is I'll just close this up, and I'm just going to play this video again so that Margaret can see it. I'll put us at the side, and let's just watch this video again. If I If I can just, oh, here we are. Yeah, okay. So, Margaret, please watch this, and then we'd love to have your input about it. Okay, so maybe that was, yes, you got it that time. Great. Mark, what do you think? Any comments?
One of the things that I noticed, and this is coming, from just my general background, is what is coffee or some sort of a drink that people are having, when they're in groups and things like that. And because of my dietetic background, I have response to that sort of thing, is that often we will go to a coffee that will rev us up. And remember that the caffeine has a both and quality to it. It can both rev us up. Ultimately, it can also do the opposite.
Yeah. Good point. Yes, but this is what's happening. People seem to be all the time drinking stuff, coffee. Companies like Starbucks have like thousands of different drinks you can, and
Exactly.
I believe many of my students used to really fascinate me because they'd come in to class and they'd say, "Oh, Thorp Sensei," because in Japan we're called Sensei. "Thorp Sensei, you won't believe what Starbucks is offering this week." And they'd tell me all these amazing, green latte, frappe, all this stuff, But yes, I totally agree. I think that we do overindulge with stimulants, perhaps, and yeah, they're great for the moment, but they can become addictive, of course, and they can really start to distort your nervous system if you don't watch it. In fact, it's really interesting you should bring this up, because the other day I went to a coffee shop with a friend, and it was a new brand. In Japan, we have many people serving different types of coffee. It's a very standard drink here in Japan. And so I went to this coffee shop I didn't know, and I ordered what I always order, which is a double espresso with milk, because I like it quite strong, Well, the first mouthful, and I thought I was going to explode. It was so strong. Clearly, it wasn't just a little shot of cappuccino. It was a huge input. So I thought I wanted to be polite, and they were asking me if I liked it. And so I carried on drinking it. And then after that, I started to feel a numbness in my legs. Now, this is really interesting because about 30 years ago, I came back from a very long trip. I'd been on 2 years traveling around the world, actually, with a backpack. And I came back to England and I was exhausted, I think. And I started to fit back into life, you know, which is tea and coffee kind of throughout the day. And I enjoyed the coffee. But I soon realized that I was allergic to it because that very same thing would happen. My legs would go numb and I would feel really as if I was going to not faint, but, you know, very dizzy, very dizzy. When I went to the doctors, because what followed after that was that I became very short of breath.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really get a deep breath. It's really unusual for me. So I went to the hospital. Yeah, not the doctors, the hospital. And they said, oh, you are allergic to something. Please blow into this paper bag, which is what, you know, hyperventilating is. So I did, and I felt much better. And I went home, but it happened again 2 days later. So I went back again, and this time it was even worse. And the doctor, a very lovely female doctor, came very close to me and she said, may I just smell your breath? So I said, yes. And she said, it's coffee. You are allergic to coffee. Now, I've never been allergic to anything in my life, but what this drink did to my nervous system is very much what I imagine is happening to people with burnout. I've never burnt out myself, but I've worked with a lot of people who have, and they do describe this kind of almost numbness in the limbs, maybe their fingertips. Yes, it happened in my fingertips too, very strange feeling in my fingertips. And the other day it happened again. I couldn't believe it, and it reminded me so much of 30 odd years ago when it happened. Ebby, dozo.
Yeah. So this is such a good point because I never even thought about this. I had health issues, as you know, a few years ago. And so I took a course in nutrition to become an expert, you know, to start learning about nutrition about 10 years ago. And one of the things they said about coffee is that most people are fine with it, but there are people who are not okay with it. And the thing about it is that you won't know. You won't know until it starts to do the damage. So that is such a good point you brought up, Margaret, because like you said, Linden, maybe that's why a lot of people, because they use it as a fix, don't they? And because it's so common and people just think, because there's the thing that says coffee is good for you.
Yeah.
But there are these exceptions where it is not. And because you think it's good for you, you keep drinking it and you don't know. You think there's something else happening. But those symptoms that you've now said, I think quite a lot of people have them, you know. And then it might also result in like the burnout because obviously it's disturbing the nervous system. So that is, I just had a eureka moment that you were both talking about this. I kind of thought, oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, it's amazing that Margaret brought it up because she's very heavily into nutrition. So I'm so glad because I think very much the symptoms that I had, and I had the other day, which reminded me of 30 odd years ago, are what some of my clients describe. You know, this kind of tingling. Yes, Margaret, go ahead.
If I may just throw in, you know, and it's not just coffee, because any beverage that carries caffeine, the caffeine that some people react to, and some people react much more, as you have done, Linden, than others. And it's being aware of the messages the body is giving us. If you have any sort of a response, you really need to go and be mindful. What have I just drunk? What have I just eaten? What could be contributing? And it's that developing the curiosity about the language of the body. It's always giving us messages one way or the other.
Yes, and absolutely. And the language of the body.
Yeah. And the
Go
ability
ahead.
to go into conversation with ourselves, which is not sort of navel gazing. It's saying something's here. There's a message here that I need to get. What should I do? And I mean, I've got a sort of blanket thing that I do with people who come with that type of response to something they're eating or drinking. It's not an easy thing to do, but eliminate it for 10 days and keep a diary.
Yeah.
What happens? And as soon as I get the feedback, then I can be, because it has an impact on our adrenal glands. It has an impact on our physiology.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is brilliant because we've started with what could be a red herring, but in fact, it leads us exactly to the premise of my work and my book, which is really that your body is your best business plan. If you are going into business, we're streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube today. So welcome, everybody. And if you are in business or if you are a leader of any kind, then it's most important that you are in contact and connected to your body, because it really will, as Margaret says, as Ebby says too, that if we listen to the language of the body, it will alert us if things are going wrong. And I'd love to know how many times everybody out there, have said no to your body. So, you're staring at a screen, you love it, you want to go further, and you end up going down what I call a rabbit hole. One thing leads to another, and you end up exploring something quite different, and the minutes tick on, and you can't stop. It's addictive almost. And so, yes, I wonder how many times you have ignored your body. Ebby, tell us, how many times?
Oh gosh, I think since I got this, and also started working with you and collaborating with you, I'm more conscious. I mean, I think I have, because it's really with studying nutrition. It's been there, but not as intense as it is now. And it's just so great. And I like some of the chapters in here. The mind as a servant, not as a master. That is so good, to get to realize that your mind is a servant and it serves you. Your brain is a servant and it serves you. So these are great tools, but being able to be in contact and listen to your body. Because when things happen, you feel it. You might feel a tightening in the stomach. You might feel your jaw clenching, shoulders, start breathing faster. And these things, just because it happen automatically almost, if you're not conscious, you don't really notice. But then what harm are you causing? Where's it being stored in your nervous system that might present problems later on in years? So it's so important if we want to be healthy, because we all complain about stress and we know stress is the biggest killer. But if we listen to our bodies, we can get the volume lower, can't we?
Yes, indeed. And I should explain at this point that Ebby and I are, working together quite closely to get this work out into the world. And we are taking it into corporate life now. That's the latest development here. So Ebby and I have worked together for quite a while now, and I think she's my most responsive client and colleague.
I love it. That's why I love the work.
She loves it. It's great. I love it. I love it too. And we always have such a good time. We always have a good laugh. So it's brilliant just to fill Margaret in about this. So yeah.
Can I just quickly say
yes,
something?
Yes. Please.
Enjoy working together, and you say, and we have a good laugh. And one of my passions is physical intelligence, which is how movement alters our internal biochemistry. And laughter and, just any sort of movement actually shifts what is happening internally. Because one of the things about a response like you were describing with your coffee, Linden, is that it brings, adrenaline. It raises the level of adrenaline and all the defensive biochemicals within us, because it's trying to defend against something that is actually harmful.
Yes, that's a fabulous point. And, okay, you can say this is a deliberate act. We deliberately drink a cup of coffee, whereas we don't deliberately overwork. We don't deliberately not stop when our bodies are screaming out to stop. But nevertheless, it's a warning. Yeah. And in fact, the other day when this happened to me, because it hasn't happened at all for 35 years, but this coffee was so strong. And I thought, as I was walking along, trying to get back to the train, I traveled by train, it was quite a long way. And as each step became more and more distant to me, couldn't feel my feet really. I actually thought, wow, this is an incredible blessing that my body is warning me now, and that I can listen, I can hear, because I'm very well balanced and have to be for my work. And I got it immediately, and it brought everything home to me that if only we can help people to be connected to their bodies, fully connected, and their spirit. Now, I want to talk about spirit because many people get a bit scared when I mention that word and associate it with religion. Excuse me, nothing to do with religion. That's something quite separate. Spirit, for me, and I'm going to ask you both in a moment what it is for you, but for me, it's the engine that drives our lives, our humanity, our intelligence. It's the engine behind it all. And we see it constantly around us in art forms these days. We see, the Die Hard movies and all the kind of movies in which heroes are pushed to their absolute limit 3,000 times, but they survive. This is the human spirit I'm talking of, which has allowed our species to exist, to go on existing, and to evolve to an incredibly high level. The human body is now 100% evolved. It probably cannot get any better. But our spirits, wow, mostly are lagging so sadly behind. And that's very concerning for me. So a lot of my work is about bringing this to the surface. So, Ebby, what about you? What is spirit for you?
What does spirit mean for me? Well, this is something I'm still investigating. I think spirit means what we have always been, like Einstein said, like energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And that's what I see as spirit. So it's always been, it's in this form now. I don't know what it was before, and that's what I'm looking at. And what it's going to be in the future, I don't know. I don't really understand that, but I just know that spirit is our pure essence and what we really are. So this, I wouldn't say disposable, but this will expire at some point. It will expire, but we will still continue to be there.
Disposable. I like that.
Yeah, disposable. Exactly. This is disposable.
Well, it is in a way. But
that for me is so interesting. You say expire, because I mean they both come from the same root. Spirit expire is
that's interesting too.
No spirit.
Yes, very interesting. So Margaret, what about you? What is spirit to you?
You know, for me, spirit is the intangible aspect of what it is to be anything, you know, that is alive. It is what gives us life in actual fact, as opposed to, you know, I mean, I don't think this box has a spirit, for example. It's wonderfully useful. It to me does not have a spirit, and that spirit is, you know, we see it in animals, we see it in plant life, we see it in anything that is live. Intangible, it's almost ephemeral, you know, it's not something we can grasp and pin down and say that's what it is exactly. It's very, you know, I think it's open to interpretation on an individual basis.
Yes. Great, good. So, yes, I think it's really important that people accept and embrace their amazing human spirit. And I live in Japan, and this is a place where people, young people, very young people, celebrate their ancestors. It's wonderful. Always we have Obon, which is, you know, a celebration takes place in August, the whole of August. And during the whole of August, never come to Japan in August because the whole country moves. Everybody goes back to their hometown. And so there are, you know, 500-mile queues on the motorways. I mean, it's amazing. But it's the time when everybody here, and even teenagers, even very young children, go to the ancestral grave and they prepare for the spirits of their ancestors to come and visit. And they offer them certain kinds of food, certain kinds of drinks, and they leave them on the gravestones. Japanese cemeteries are very beautiful. And they burn incense. And, you know, for 3 days, they wait for the spirits to arrive. And then the spirits are here and the families are all together celebrating. And then they see the spirits off at the end of that time. So I feel so blessed to be in a country where ancestors are really the bee's knees. And even my young students, one day I'd say, do you really believe that your ancestors are around you, are present? Oh, yes. Oh, definitely, Sensei. My grandmother is up there all the time, making sure I don't do anything wrong. You know, they would all have these incredibly convincing, innocent, beautifully innocent ways of describing this incredible presence. So if we look at spirit in terms of how our ancestral line has contributed to our DNA, the DNA we now have at the front of the queue, as it were, imagine that incredible evolution of 8 billion individuals on today's planet. You know, it's extraordinary. So spirit comes from our incredible desire to survive the most incredible harshness in the past. Disease, fire, attack, you know, with no instruments to defend us, this kind of thing. And so that distillation of our ancestral lineage, for me, is very much about spirit. So I'm so glad to have you back me up on that. I'd like now to just show you, we can come back and talk about that in a moment, but I'd just like to show you the some quotations from my book, which will give you an idea, because I know Margaret hasn't had time to read it yet. So if I just pick out one or two quotations, you can see where I'm coming from here. And here we are. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the book, and these are some of the quotes. I hope you can all see. First one is quite famous now.
I love that one.
You are not your mind.
You're not your thoughts.
Okay, so that's just a little idea of it. And at this stage, I'll just share my screen and then I'll get some comments from you. And I'll just show you the actual book, which I've got here. And it's a very readable book. Here's the table of contents. So we're looking at burnout full in the face. And this book is written in readable chunks, because I'm so aware that people don't read so much these days. And so I've created it in chunks with lots of images and quotations so that people can take away a little part and come back to it. And there are little meditations, little mindful practices throughout. So it's not your average book. It's really a gateway book, which allows you to look at chunks. Yes, I've used chunks, so you can digest a chunk and go away and mull it over and then come back and see what you... I hope it's a very readable book from that point of view. So coming back to your impressions. So Margaret, what do you think so far of the quotations? Does there anything stand out?
I think they're all extremely valid. And, you know, my sort of whole approach to the whole burnout story is I often talk about our various resources. We have emotional resources, we have intellectual resources, social resources, etc., etc. And it's being mindful to do regular audits on this, you know, in the same way that our accountants do audits on our figures. But we need to do those sort of audits for ourselves so that we can prevent, because prevention takes far fewer resources than cure.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Great, good. And Abhishita, what, as a kind of reader of that book, what have you got from it so far?
I think now all the quotes, they're real gems. I think the one that I really like is about the thoughts. So you're not your thoughts, because this is one thing that makes a lot of people feel like they're doing something wrong, because they think that if it's coming to my mind, I must have put it there. But the thoughts come in. The trick is to choose the thoughts you focus on. So you choose the right thoughts, you focus on those thoughts. And the book is, like you said, easy to read, not a lot of pages. Burnout is the hidden cost of living in your head. And you talk a lot about the living in your head, which is what we do. So we relate to the mind, and they call it the mind and the body, but I think it's a lot of times it's the mind, isn't it? But it's not actually the feeling in the body. So people talk about the mind and the body, but they're not actually feeling what's inside, which is what you need to do. So when because any negative emotions, any emotions are stored in our bodies. So obviously good emotions are good to be stored, but the negative emotions, we don't want that being stored. So it's been observing, what's it doing to us? The thought comes in. Is that a good thought? Does it benefit me? No, it doesn't. Because if you force it out, there's a pink elephant in the room, you'll keep seeing that. So you don't force it, just let it float by. Because if you try and force it, then it comes and stays in there.
Yes. Well, just to fill Margaret in, because I never get a chance to talk to her about these things, but I hope that will change soon. Margaret, I'm constantly talking to people at great irritation, I think, about the limited mind. So I call this the brilliant but limited mind. And some people get rather upset with that because they're trapped in that mind, you know? And so I think for me, my greatest mission really is to get people out of that mind and to get people to realize it's fabulous, but it's not how we were meant to live. And we can see this if we go back, as I have done, and work with indigenous peoples and so on, who never use this mind. They don't need it when they're close to the earth. They don't need all of this cerebration and cognitive fireworks. I mean, it's fabulous. I don't knock it. But I'm saying that it was never intended for us to live from this place, and that is, in fact, causing a lot of burnout because people can't switch off. You know, they just can't switch off. They can't stop. My clients tell me that they can't stop trying to get leads for their business. They can't stop trying to be successful out there, you know. So I'm very, very aware that it may offend some people, but to me, it is so limited compared with the unlimited mind, which is the mind that is boundless, where we find it in our mindful states, in our meditation states, prayer, perhaps, whatever you prefer. But that state, for me, is our natural state, mostly because it brings us to here and now with our breath. And so if we consciously breathe, which is what I get my clients to do, and we are really not distracted by the visual and intellectual at all, we've lowered that gaze, you know, so we're now really inside, and we're really breathing consciously, and we are here and now, and there's no other time. There's no past, there's no future. It is here and now, and it is reality. My background is Buddhist, as you know, and so a lot of the Buddhist teachings tell us very strongly that we that thinking is not living, that we have to be present in our bodies. I mean, really, a lot of what I write about comes from my Buddhist background, because the Buddha was so spot on, really so spot on. And I believe he really knew what was going to start happening to human beings in the future, 3,000 years on. So the teachings are so alive and so seminal even now. So yes, forgive me if I offend you about the limited mind, but I do always add brilliant. And it's a brilliant mind, but there's so much more beyond that mind. Margaret, you look as if you want to speak.
One of the great concepts that I learned from Carl Jung is the both and of matter, is that our mind is both an ally and a possible enemy.
Yeah.
And it is the choice that we make as to how we will utilize this brilliant mind that we have been, gifted with. And, you couch it in terms of the spiritual nature of, prayer or meditation and those sort of things. But it, for me, is just an expression of stilling, being able to listen as well as speak. The both and.
Yes. That's brilliant. Yes, that stillness is, in fact, for me, that is the most restful and gorgeous place of all. And I just want to always be there, really. But I have a strong mission to get this work out, and I want to help as many people as possible avoid burnout entirely, because it's horrible, horrible thing, So
can I touch in one more of my musical metaphors? Music, as you realize, is an incredibly important part of my life. That if a piece of music just went on and on and on and on, all the notes exactly the same length, all of them at the same volume, we'd stop listening. It would just be a bombardment. And therefore, good quality music has breaks. It has different tempo. That all is what makes it gorgeous.
Yeah.
And if we can, again, live like that, where, yes, we can go like mad, but then we need to pull back, have an interval between the next movement, etc.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Life is a kind of symphony. I do agree. And it's, especially in classical music, which is my background.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the silences that define everything else. The silences define the melodies. The silences define the rhythms. It's extraordinary. And if we could only realize how appropriate that is for the way we can live. But people don't, because they're trapped here and they're seeing everything from that perspective. And it's really difficult to convince people to come out of it. They feel naked, they feel they're losing time, they're being left behind, they're imposters. This negative scarcity way of thinking is so prevalent these days. Yes.
Sorry, Linden, I'm interrupting.
No,
here.
Go ahead. I love it. Go ahead.
Talk about the spells that are cast over us. That we're almost bound by what other people think, what other people tell us, so we stop listening to this instrument.
Yes, that's also really good point. And Abby, Sheila and I have talked about that a lot in the past. It's really so sad that we are buried. Our true nature is buried. It's buried from the age of 5 upwards, quite often, by layer upon layer of social indoctrination, social voices, I spoke to someone the other day, quite an elderly person, and I was trying to encourage her to start her own business, which I'm always trying to do because we can now, you know, and it's so exciting. And she, for a moment, she seemed so interested. And then I heard this almost disembodied voice say, "Oh, I'll never be able to do that." And it was a kind of throwaway line. And I said something else, and she said it again. So I stopped her and I said, "Can I just ask you about what you're saying? Because you're saying it in the same pattern with the same vibration every time. And it seems to me it's not your voice." Well, she was so amazed. And she filled up with tears, actually. And when she could speak, she said, "You are so right. It's my mother. My mother said this to me when I was so young, and it's always with me. And it's prevented me from doing so much in my life." So, of course, now I'm working with her to change her script, which is a lot of what I do, to find vibrational words that are really meaningful, new vibrational words that that register with that person, and that constellation of vibrations that their own vocal shows me. And she is so excited now because she's got rid of it. I have allowed her, she has allowed herself to get rid of this voice which has dogged her all her life. And she's so joyful. So, you know, this kind of transformation is so exciting and so moving for me. And I think the more we can do this work, and I know all three of us are doing this amazing transformation work with people, then the more hope and the more joy people will have in their lives. Human life is such a joyful gift to me. To become human is such an incredible privilege. And the very process of birth, you know, the birth canal, getting through that, emerging as a fully
challenge
human being. Yeah, I mean, we struggle to be born often, but then we lose our incredible innocence and our incredible sense of meaning of life, which is so sad. So that's so much my mission. Okay, we're going over time.
I like what you just said before you go, where you said about birth, because when we're at that stage, we're fighters, aren't we? Because that is a challenge. Think about it, that tiny thing coming through there, that's a challenge. So what's happened 5 years, 6 years down the line that we're losing that?
Yes,
that is a challenge. That's the human spirit, isn't it? Coming down that birth.
Absolutely,
and that's what we are. That's.
I think good. The birth canal is a great metaphor, I think, for our struggle to become human. And I'll just finish off by saying that my Aboriginal experience, my Indigenous wisdom experience, really proved that to me, because Aboriginals are so overwhelmed with this opportunity to become a human being. And their life, they see their life as the most extraordinary gift in which they will learn all the spiritual lessons they need to learn. And then they'll go back and travel in the sky, as they put it. Now, many tribes have similar creation myths, but this for me is so lovely. And to live with people who are actually embodying that approach to life, so wonderful and inspiring. So yeah, we have to do this again. This is great. We've got such, you have to come back, Margaret. Ebby and I are often here, but you're initiated, okay? So thanks so much, both of you. It's been so joyful, and I'll invite you very soon again. And thank you so much for your contributions. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to go to bed soon, but there we are. That's what happens in Japan. We're always way ahead of you lot.
Ahead of everybody. Lovely to meet with you, Ebi Sheila. And
lovely to meet you, and thank you so much.
thank
I'm
you.
so glad, because you're both Africans. I should explain that Margaret is a South African.
I could tell the accent. I got that. It's not very strong, but I got it. I thought, oh yeah, I'm sure she's South African.
Well, she's been in England for a long time, so she's kind of anglicized now.
Very slight, yeah.
But lovely to meet you, and thank you for the invitation, Linden. Really appreciate it.
My great pleasure, and I'm so glad you could make it. It was really on the off chance, but I won't be so hesitant in future. Okay.
And we've got a bit, because that's important.
Oh yes, we should be dancing. Definitely. We've got a couple of comments here. We've got Dietchi, who is saying the body is your business plan, so she's reiterating the title, and my African friend who's called Pape. Pape, so nice to have you. He's a farmer, and I'm going to try, and he's in the middle of Africa, and I'm going to try and help him to get to connect with people here on LinkedIn. And also King, who is my Middle Eastern follower, who comes to all my events. I love King. So lovely to have you all here, and hope you have a great rest of the day. So I'll let you go, and I'll speak to you both very soon. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. So that was wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's just amazing how my life is full of African people at the moment. My ancestry is clearly with Africa. And in fact, my grandfather fought in the Boer War. And yeah, I think there are huge connections with Africa. And it's gorgeous. I love it. Delightful. So, LinkedIn members, YouTubers, thank you so much for joining us. I hope today has been interesting. We're going to put the link for the book, Your Body is Your Business Plan, into the window beneath this live stream, and you can get it easily. And if you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to ask me our comments. I hope you'll join us again next week. Next week, we're going to get back to the routine. We're going to have a very good Greek friend of mine come and co-host with me, called Annie Eza. And we're going to be talking about live embodiment. So she is also an embodiment expert. And she is also very spiritual. So we're going to be talking about how embodiment can really change people's lives entirely. Well, we've hinted a little bit at that of that today. My life has certainly been changed by my work with embodiment. So please join us again next week, same time, same place. And if you would like to join us in the studio, we'd love to have you. We can take up to 10 people. So if you feel like coming and talking with us on the platform here in the studio, you can apply. We'll put the link for that as well. And so thank you so much for today. And I hope that you've learnt something valuable, and that you will be able to apply it in your life. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye for now.
you.